Good afternoon. Welcome to this edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show. My name is Leon Jones. This afternoon's topic, I'm going to talk about the benefits and detriments of social media on how it relates to mental health, physical health, and relationships. Well, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, texting are all venues of social media. There are also smartphone applications, video platforms such as Daily Notion, YouTube, Vimeo. All of them have had a hand in what we have today with how we connect. LinkedIn is another one for professionals. So Reddit is another one. You name it, another application of social media keeps popping up. But why do we make so much of a big deal of social media? Well, social media has its pros and cons. Social media overall, if used correctly, it's a good tool, a good marketing tool, especially if you have a business. Where you can have a downfall is when individuals abuse it, such as the incidents that have taken place on Facebook Live. I'm talking about the mother who was caught giving her 4-year-old son oral sex, the suicide on Facebook Live, the lady that got shot in the stomach, the pregnant lady in Chicago. Her boyfriend and her 2-year-old toddler died at the scene. 3 gentlemen in Norfolk, Virginia. Of course, they were smoking their weed, listening to their rap music, and I lived in Norfolk, and I know how treacherous that place can be, especially when you get down in the areas of Tidewater Drive and Bramilton and Ocean View. Those places are rather ratchet, but you have a Navy base down there too that doesn't help everything in that sense. But besides, those cases that I just mentioned hurt social media. And believe it or not, the majority of them were of American people. Now you have some in there for white folk too, so this is an equal balance here. But what I'm trying to tie this into is how social media can benefit and it can have a detriment on mental health, physical health, and relationships. So when it comes to any benefits, such as mental health of social media, well, mental health wise, social media provides a sense of belonging. Why? Because everyone wants to fit in some degree. So when a family member or a friend member posts on our Facebook page, we feel accepted. Well, also, the mental health benefit of it, it makes it easier to find role models. Now, social media facilitates connecting with people who share interests and concerns. So if you are training for a Boston Marathon and find it hard to go that extra mile, connecting on social media with a person that has run in a Boston Marathon can give you that inspirational boost. So you'll go out, be motivated, and you'll want to run the Boston Marathon. The increase of trust. Now, this was a study done by Venezuela, Park, and Key. Showed that Facebook increases trust amongst users because the detailed information provided by contacts reduces uncertainty about their intentions and behaviors. Increases bonding while decreasing loneliness. Well, when people have one-on-one connection on social media, and this is based on a Carnegie Mellon study, it showed that they feel very good about themselves. But once that one-on-one communication is completed, then the people go back into their situations in their real world. And I'm going to talk about that when I go into the detriments of social media. Social media can make us happy. Despite all the talk about Facebook depression, social media does make us feel better. But you have to be engaged for it to make you feel better. In other words, you have to have friends that you're connecting with. Because if you don't, then you're not going to feel good at all. And you'll have to ask yourself, why do you have a Facebook page, a Twitter account, so on and so on. spreads happiness to others. Now, this is basically what researchers found. But when it comes to happiness, what kind of happiness? And the happiness is basically on the person. Again, when somebody tells me I need somebody to make me happy, well, no one can make you happy. You already have to be happy. But when it comes to spreading happiness to others, researchers found that happiness spreads across social networks to at least 3 degrees of separation. Now, when it comes to the physical health aspects, well, you have positive effects with social media on how people manage their health. This is why the health apps are very useful when it comes to social media, because more than 40% of users have improved their health as a result of when they use social media. That's right, more than 40% of users have improved their health habits as a result of what they read on social media and how to use the applications. Improves health via smartphone apps, just as I've mentioned before, because having a phone app at hand keeps users focused on exercise, diet, and weight, plus some apps have social features so others can provide additional support. Increases quality of health care. 60% of doctors think that the quality of health care that they provide has been improved because of social media. Now, when it comes to relationships, well, creates couples' sense of closeness. Now, this is basically in the demographic between 18 and 29. So, texting and online messages have made 41% of couples, again, between the ages of 18 and 29, feel closer. Now, that's according to a Pew Research study. Some couples have even used text to resolve arguments that they weren't able to resolve in person. I'll talk about that as well. Also, in relationships, social media decreases isolation. Well, social media users are 50% less likely to be isolated than non-social media users. Reconnects people. Facebook makes it easier to find people so they can revive their friendships. Now, going to the detriments. When it comes to mental health, there's increased feelings of inadequacy because social media users compare themselves to others and feel as they cannot measure up to the ideal lives that their connections depict. There's also signs of social anhedonia, and that's where the University of Missouri found that some test subjects exhibited signs of a type of schizotypy known as social anhedonia. And this is a condition that has people with the inability to feel happy from activities that one would normally enjoy, including interacting with others. Now, people who experience this kind of mental illness, they basically have little to no Facebook friends. They don't have anybody to share photos with, and they basically participate less in social media. There's also chances of becoming addicted. This cannot be farther from the truth because most of us, when we have social media, we're constantly checking our cell phones or social media accounts, and what happens? That triggers the addiction. And when that happens, well, you can have signs that include emotional shutdown, withdrawal symptoms, and the inability to focus. And it makes difficulty to communicate in person. That's right, makes communicating in person difficult. Social phobia can occur because of fewer in-person interactions. Results in anxiety. Well, social media users experience FOMO. That stands for the fear of missing out. This is where people feel that others are having fun without them. People may also experience anxiety because they don't feel smart enough as interesting as or as successful as others. It causes depression. And this is the mental part. Now, according to socialist Ethan Kross, who was the lead author of the University of Michigan study, on the surface, Facebook provides an invaluable resource of fulfilling the basic human need for social interaction. But rather than enhancing the well-being, he found that Facebook users predict the opposite. This is despite of how many friends that a Facebook users have and how supportive they were and why they logged on to Facebook. The study also found that the more people use Facebook, the more their moods dropped. And when it comes to physical health, it definitely affects sleep because staying up late texting or browsing social media sites can result in sleep disorders, stress, and depression. Provides a quick hit. And we live in this society where we have instant gratification. So the instant gratification basically that social media provides can be likened to a drug and illicit addiction like symptoms. Provides inactivity. Now, according to the National Institutes of Health, while using smartphones for texting or social media, you burn just 1 calorie an hour because your energy expenditure is next to nothing. This can lead to obesity, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, cardiovascular problems, blood pressure problems, arthritis, breathing issues, neck strain, and cancer. And there are also an increase in obesity. It's thought that if you see on social media that your friends are gaining weight, then you may believe that it's okay to do the same. Social media distorts the perception of what's accepted. Now, on the flip side, social networks can inspire people to lose weight, leads to eating disorders. Research found that women who use Facebook a lot have more body image concerns, which resulted in a higher tendency to engage in eating disorder behaviors. These women crave getting likes and comments on their posts, and they compare photos of themselves against their friends. And when it comes to relationships, what happens? Well, it distracts people from others. Now, a survey showed that 20% of couples felt partners were distracted by their cell phones. The same survey showed that 8% of couples argued about how much time partners spend on the internet. Brings out jealousy. Couples who use Facebook exhibit jealousy over seeing something bothersome on a partner's wall, reconnecting with exes, developing relationships with somebody they're already friends with, and tagging photos with exes in them. Gives couples nothing to talk about. So if partners text or use social media throughout the day to keep in touch, there might not be anything new to share once they're with each other. It decreases empathy because social media keeps people from interacting one-on-one. It's been shown that people lose empathy. People can no longer react genuinely to real-life issues affecting others. Exasperates relationship contingent self-esteem, known as RCSE. Now, this self-esteem of people, or the self-esteem of people with this condition, basically depends on the relationship status. Now, as a result, they want to show their Facebook friends that they're in a good relationship by bragging about their partners or the relationship. However, they may also publicly post things on their partner's walls that may be better shared privately. Now, again, I don't have a problem with social media, but social media does make people very passive when it comes to the real world. For instance, let's look at online dating, which is social media as well. Online dating, I can tell you from my experience with it, looking for women. Well, a number of the women on online dating, for the most part, that I've seen, aren't the most attractive. Now, there are some, but what they do, they know how to distort their pictures by using Photoshop. They know how to change angles, and they know how to write an opinion piece or profile that really distorts the truth. Because when you hide behind social media, you can forgo who you really are by being a chameleon, being something that you're not. In other words, when it comes to online dating like Plenty of Fish, OkCupid, Date Hookup, number of the women, and I'll say the number of men on there too, who individuals probably wouldn't give a second look in the real world, can go on online dating and think that they're dimes or perfect tens as well, and they think they should have the same types of standards as attractive people should. Now, attractive people, if they're that attractive, they don't need online dating. But you have individuals, when it comes to dating, they're constantly checking their emails for messages, and that gets old quickly. The same way it does with Facebook, Instagram, because everybody's trying to compare their lives to someone else. Now, the majority of people who use social media are young people. Most of us individuals in our 50s, okay, we use it, but I use it based on marketing my business. Also make videos with YouTube. But I prefer the real world, because if you really want to know some information about people, well, it's much easier to relate face to face, because you can see the body movements, you get an idea of the tone of voice, facial expressions. That's when you can tell about people. And social media creates a passive way of communicating to somebody, like texting. Just like I had already explained that couples resolved an argument by texting. Let me tell you something, that is far from the truth. If you are going to resolve an argument, you need to confront that person, sit down, and work it out. Saying something by typing isn't going to get it done, because with texting, many of us misinterpret what's being said. This is why when somebody texts me, I want to ask them, what did you mean by that text? And plus, individuals, when they text, they use all of these acronyms like BFF, best friends forever, whatever that means, or later. They don't even write complete sentences. So the English language, when it comes to social media, goes out the door. Instead of writing later, I've seen L8R for later. Instead of writing before, which the whole preposition was spelled out, they just write a B and a 4. You see how that passive type of writing eludes the traditional English language? But that's what social media does. It keeps individuals in the virtual perspective, but they think it's real. It's not real. That's why it's virtual. With all the friends you might have, how many of these friends do you really know? It's the same way I look at YouTube. Somebody subscribes to my channel. I don't know that person who subscribed to my channel. Never seen them in my life. In fact, a subscriber is not necessarily a supporter to your channel. They may look at one video. That's it. They like the video, they subscribe to your channel. After that, you may never hear from them again. Then you have some who do support your channel because of the emails that I get for people who want me to do certain topics. But nevertheless, when it comes to social media, there are two sides of the same coin. There are the benefits and the detriments. The bottom line is, where do you sit? Because to me, a person who's on social media too much, in my humble opinion, has got some issues because they can't correspond with the real world. The person who is on social media less, they don't have any issues. Why? Because they can still relate to the real world. And regardless of what type of technology that we assimilate under, you can't get away from the real world. Now, social media does give you underground information when it comes to news that you're not able to get in the real world because of the biases with the media, the newspaper, which is print media, and of course your education system known as your public school system, your colleges, and universities. However, when it comes to social media, it's easy to hide behind social media. You can lie about who you are on social media. Because for the most part, with the younger crowd, certainly you have some good young people who use social media for its intended purpose. However, you got some who just want to air out their grievances and rant and rave because they can't deal with the pressures of the real world, so they bring that baggage onto social media and they want us all to hear it. Now, the best thing to do with any type of social media, use it when it is necessary for you to use it. You don't have to be up on social media all night. If you feel yourself getting stressed, step away from it. This is what I do with YouTube. I used to do videos every day. I stopped doing videos every day. So when a topic comes to my mind, I'll do a video. If there's no need for me to do a video, I take a step away from it. Why? Because I maintain my focus in the real world. And what I'm doing with my YouTube channel, I'm just communicating what I see in the real world on camera so you can understand where I'm coming from with how I present my content or what I have seen as far as a particular event that has taken place. But bottom line, if you're going to utilize social media, be balanced with it. Get on it, use it properly. Market your business, market who you are to employers. Also, reach out to friends, family members, and classmates, and people who you haven't seen in a while, but don't utilize it to be a way of life. Like taking the virtual moment and you try to go out in the real world and use that virtual setting as the real world. That's not going to work. Don't use it for arguing with people because it's going to get you stressed. Don't use it to threaten people's lives. Don't use it to put any pornographic pictures of yourself or others or blackmail others with social media. Because at the end of the day, you're not only hurting others, but you're hurting yourself and you're hurting the image of social media. Social media is a good tool, but it does have its downfalls as well. And today's topic, I wanted to weigh in on the pros and cons of social media. So if you're using social media, one last point I want to make. Don't be an addict. Because when you're addicted to social media, you forget about everything else around you. And if the information that you're sending out in social media is hurting other people, again, you're hurting yourself as well as the image of social media. And that's really the biggest problem I have with social media. Individuals have lost sight of the real world and have become addicted to social media platforms, and now they use social media as a way of life to communicate with others, and at the end of the day, they don't have the ability to correspond with anybody face to face. That's why it's difficult to have relationships. And of course, relationships don't work unless you have that physical and one-on-one contact. See, it's easy, like I said, to be a soldier when there ain't no war. But when you got to get in the game, then you're going to be under the same scrutiny as somebody who's criticizing you. Now, what I mean by that, it's easy to sit on social media and criticize somebody. But when you actively have to be a participant and go through the notions of being confronted with your points, views, and opinions on social media. It's going to feel rather uncomfortable when somebody is criticizing you. And this is what I see with all the trolls on YouTube. They will come to your channel, say what they want. But they damn sure don't have a video channel so their channels can be critiqued. Why? Because social media also creates cowards. It's much easier to hide behind avatars, no face, no videos. And that's another portion of social media when it comes to users. The trolls, they make it very difficult because some people can't deal with the trolls. I can deal with the trolls because I don't care about the trolls because I know who they really are. I've had some come by my social media channel here on YouTube and tell me, all your stuff is whack. Well, don't listen to it if it's whack. You listen to it, so it must be something that affected you. And that's how you have to handle it with any type of social media. Because really, what I'm trying to say, yes, social media can have an effect, but it's how you use the social media. So you have two ways. You either use it properly or improperly. Either way, it's going to affect you mentally, health-wise, and relationship-wise. So the choice is yours. You can use it the right way, or you can use it the wrong way. But you are the driving force of your life. And either way, stay positive. Because social media is not going anywhere. In fact, it's going to continue to increase. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 401 Talk Zone radio show for this afternoon, Saturday, August 12th, 2017. You can tune into the 401 Talk Zone radio show every Saturday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Blog Talk Radio. Guest calling number is 215-383-5785. If you like my videos, please share and subscribe to the 401 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube so I can continue to give you quality information for educational purposes from a professional and mature perspective. Now, on this channel, I don't engage in debates, controversy, or emotional issues, nor do I participate in drama or unnecessary bickering. Why? Because it is counterproductive. I don't solve any problems or get anything done. What I'm here to do is teach. And that's what the 401 Talk Zone radio show is about. It's about educating. And when you have the proper education, you actually have the tools that you can apply to the real world. Because just like the social media world, if you don't know how to deal with the social media world, you're not going to know how to deal with the real world, because in both cases, both areas or both categories are challenging. But once you have the tools, you don't have to worry about anything. You just keep growing. Why? Because knowledge is power. And if you have a business, a topic, or a new YouTube channel that you would like for me to discuss on YouTube or Blog Talk Radio, please email me at lej6521@gmail.com. And if you have a comment, please leave your comment in the comment section under the video. But make sure that your comments are pithy. No bloviating, pettifogging, or filibustering if you wish to opine. Now that's it for this video. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. Remember, please be gentle and respectful to each other. Have a wonderful and blessed afternoon.